This is a Clouds weather alert.
Good, very early Saturday morning, everybody. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center right now. We have a tornado warning now in effect for parts of Clay County in Georgia within our 62 counties until about 3:45 a.m. At 3:21, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado that was located near Fort Gaines. That'd be around 2:21 Central Time here. So moving out of Alabama and into Georgia. I know this storm already has a history producing tornadic activity, it would seem. So we're going to be really careful here as this moves in toward Georgia to see if we get another tornado to develop here as we're tracking this. I know I'm backing the radar up right now because we had in Alabama now they didn't call it a particularly dangerous situation, but we may have had a strong tornado for a little while. They're east of Ozark. They are not far from the community of Echo. I'll see what we're talking about here on other radar mode a little while ago. You see how well defined this was. You can see that that was around, looks like about 45 minutes ago as we're looking at things there. And then as we kind of go ahead and advance this, you see how weakened they dropped the tornado warning, then they reissued a tornado warning here, folks, as this is starting to move in toward Georgia. And okay, it looks like, well, that warning was just issued at 3:21. It looks like they've gone ahead and canceled it again. And then go ahead and go to current time. It hadn't dropped up on this source yet, but that is a very quick tornado warning. The circulation just starting to get into Georgia. I wasn't too impressed with it, but I saw why they wanted to issue that there for a scan or two because of the history of this. You kind of see here right around, it looked like State Road 10. There was some spin there, but they've gone ahead and dropped it. I'll be curious to see if they see it's a thunderstorm warning or not. But we jumped on here just a moment before they actually canceled this. But you can kind of see we had that little area of spin there. Again, that has now dropped off very, very rapidly within 10 minutes. Again, jumping on there for that tornado warning here for parts of the area. We'll stick with it for a few moments now that we've jumped in here. Let's just make sure nothing else kind of evolves on us here, maybe with some redevelopment. But let me go ahead and see here just to remind you guys of the coverage map. So again, we're in Bradford County, North Florida, and not to confuse anybody here too much, but we have two Clay counties and two Baker counties here. We're talking about areas of Clay County in Georgia with that tornado warning, a very, very short fuse one, one of the shorter ones I can remember actually. But unfortunately, this storm did produce damage outside of the covered area in Alabama. Maybe very significant damage based on some of our indications here early on. It developed very rapidly here. There wasn't a tornado watching point at that point. There now is until 11 a.m. But okay, so the tornado warning safety tips can go away now. That tornado warning got dropped very, very rapidly. Within just a matter of moments of us coming on the air before the circulation even moved in toward our Georgia zones here, per se. Let me go ahead and see here. I want to see, guys, the debris tracker now. Of course, you're not going to see anything on that now, which is good, but we'll back things up on it too. So here's the current time. You don't see anything standing out, which is good. I mean, we back it up a little bit there, but you saw that purple box. But let's kind of just show you guys the information with the radar. You see some of the heavy rain moving in toward Georgia, but you can see here how as we look up toward the north there, you didn't have that debris there in the last little bit, but as you back this up, it was a different story earlier on. Very well defined, and it was right near the radar site too, but you could see that tornadic debris near Echo there. This is outside of the area we didn't jump on for it. It wasn't a particularly dangerous situation, a type of alert, though. Of course, we did retweet things at Cloud Casey because it was something that we were monitoring very carefully from the national standpoint and for our area. Pretty rural out there, but then again, this is a odd scenario because we had that tornado warning issued very quickly there, and then it drop off very quickly for areas of Clay County in Georgia. So again, that was only going to 3:45 anyway, but the only warning we have remaining right now in our area is a flash flood warning here. And let me go ahead and pull up those safety tips. That could be an issue. There's still to some degree lingering around, but northwestern Clay County and southwestern Georgia, Lee County and southwestern Georgia, Quitman County, there was Randolph and Terrell until about 9 a.m. At 1:34, Doppler radar indicated thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the warned area. Between 2 and 2.5 inches have fallen. Additional rainfall amounts to 2 to 4 inches are possible in the warned area, and flash floods ongoing are expected to begin shortly. There are Fort Gaines, Dawson, Cuthbert, Leesburg, Albany, Georgetown, Shellman, Smithville, as well as Sasser. You have areas, I'll just go through the list here. Brooksville, Georgia, Oakville, Chambliss there. So again, I'm just gonna keep watching things here. I know we have some wind energy aloft, but I know that may not be really reaching the surface directly right now, which would be some good news here. And again, we had a strong, it looked like, based on some debris going up there aloft earlier on, a strong tornado there in Alabama that faded away, started to redevelop a little as I was getting close to the state lines. That's why they said the tornado warning very quickly came on, and then they dropped it real quick here to the National Weather Service in Tallahassee. So again, I'm just continuing to watch things right now. It is 3:34 a.m. Eastern Time, 2:34 Central. I know tomorrow will be this time per se with the hour jump. It would be 4:34, but some people might already have set their clocks a little early, so just give me that kind of heads up that way. But we have some other action down toward the south and west that we're watching. We'll just continue to watch the latest developments here. The tornado watch is in that broad yellow shading that goes to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Central Time. So we're just going to have to monitor things very carefully. You see some thunderstorm warning there around Pensacola. There, Gulf Coast size hail and 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts the possibility there. So that's a storyline for those folks. It'll take a while for that type of action. As you're looking, you see that discrete cell. Well, that if that storm were to make it in our area, it would take a while, moving east at 65 miles an hour. So a couple hours there, you would think, as we're looking at things, as we're monitoring the scenario. So just kind of something to keep in mind as we're trying to give you guys a heads up here to protect you, your friends, your family. I'm just going through everything here. Again, right now we just have the flash flood warning. We had a very, very quick tornado warning for the area. It's our policy to always be on for any tornado warnings done within the 62 counties. We were on for it there, but honestly, the circulation hadn't even moved in. Really wasn't even within our counties here before they dropped the warning. We were jumping on just before it came into our region there and kind of becoming a little bit weaker, that circulation there. And it's kind of right on the edge of the best parameters, I would say. Right now, you see the energy values kind of drop off as we look. And let me just kind of give you guys perspective here. You see where that one red box was. And you see some instability inching in, but it's kind of not exactly overlapping. We have some significant tornado parameter, though, and supercell composites. So there's some different limiting factors here today as we're looking at things, as we're monitoring the situation. I know. Let's look back at rainfall here. I see a new flash flood warning issued in Alabama for Geneva, Henry, and Houston outside of the area, but the last 12 hours in these areas here, a half foot of rain around Elba, and in our covered area, you see even 3-4 inches there. Quitman County there, I mean, you have areas closer to Cuthbert, so I'm talking about Randolph County there. Getting into what areas there north of Fort Gaines, so Clay County, Georgia, included as well with that flash flood warning. I know, let's go ahead and zoom back out here for a moment. You can see our tornado risk here. That's where the risk is greatest today in the yellow as we look at past 7 a.m. But that green area is at least a non-zero tornado risk. So you just got to stay weather aware. That yellow there, well, that incorporates your wind risk in there, and then there's your hail risk. So just kind of keep things in mind today as we're watching the situation. Again, I'll probably wrap it up pretty soon, actually. But that tornado watch to 11 a.m. We had a very, very brief tornado warning for Clay County, Georgia. Did not even last 10 minutes here for that part of the viewing circle. So, and the circulation really hadn't even moved on in before they dropped that warning. So, Again, we have the logo right now in alert mode. This is a situation where we could kind of mentioned it back Thursday night. I hadn't set up completely like what we would maybe expect it to directly. I mean, nothing ever goes exactly as forecast, but I kind of mentioned, well, we have the parameters here for a strong tornado, but sometimes in these scenarios, things can kind of not come together at points. Well, I think a lot of points so far. I haven't had things come together maybe across just the southeast with this, but then they came together for a little bit in southeast Alabama. Probably a strong tornado there on Echo, somewhere around the community of Echo. And it's a tricky thing. I mean, it wasn't necessarily directly a discrete storm, but it was kind of a line segment that was able to get its own energy, is what it was looking like here to me. It was kind of more out there. It wasn't quite directly within everything else. So even those, you got to really watch carefully in this type of environment with the spin out. There you have the energy. Look at these temperatures for this time of night. I mean, we're sitting in the 70s here. It's early March. This is severe weather season really across this part of the country. So it's going to be a pretty busy day here. Since we don't have any tornado warnings or severe thunderstorm warnings right now, though, for the covered area, I'll probably wrap it up soon. We'll just try to get a little more rest here out ahead of maybe a threat later on here. Maybe later on this morning. Maybe we'll get a low in this, but I can't guarantee that by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just kind of hoping for that, with this looking a little more linear. But when I just start getting more maybe some thunderstorm warnings, we start seeing, and we have to watch stuff back toward the south and west. But with a tornado watch in play, there's mobile homes, we'll need to be really careful here. So let me go ahead and see where our tornado safety tips are right now. Let me go ahead and pop those up again. If there's tornado watch issued, that means conditions favorable for tornadic activity. Stay tuned for the latest. You just really want to be on guard. And then a tornado warning means it's been spotted there, either visually or using radar. Seek such and that sturdy building, get as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Protect yourself from flying debris by putting on a football helmet or bicycle helmet. So the reason we jumped on was a tornado warning that hadn't been issued until 3:45 for parts of Clay County in Georgia, not Clay County, Florida. We cover both. Just like Baker counties in Florida and Georgia. This is Clay County, Georgia, though, but it dropped off very quickly to that tornado warning. I'll back this up again. You want to see what I'm talking about here, that red box. I mean, we tried to start to get that spin on in there, but they dropped that warning, I mean, about the time it started to come in. You can kind of see that spin there about 3:22. I mean, even right there at 3:25, there was some spin, but just trying to come on in, and then it kind of just fades. I mean, so rapidly they drop it. I mean, not even severe thunderstorm warning. So again, that's kind of the storyline right now. As we look at the current scans, and now we're going to have to watch some of this because some of the stuff to the south might have a better chance of reaching the surface if the winds were to pick up on velocity. They might have to issue a warning down that way. So just got to be really careful here as I kind of scrub between the latest scans. Again, just trying to give you the latest here on what's going on. Just try a different radar perspective real quick here. It looks pretty elongated right now, but things could change. I mean, this is a little bit further north. There's probably a thunderstorm warning on it. Maybe a little bit less instability up there, or otherwise I'd have a better chance of being surface based. So again, that's kind of the storyline right now. Let me introduce any questions or comments from any of the viewers at home as we give you guys the very latest here. Again, we thank you. I thank you so much for tuning in here very, very early on this Saturday morning, having to jump in because we had a tornado warning very briefly for parts of the area. We could have more through the morning, afternoon, even into the evening. So this isn't going to be maybe a one and done threat. I mean, I know we had a threat up toward the west yesterday, though, and things didn't really come together. So maybe we'll get lucky and have a lull here. But you got to stay alert in the nighttime hours. The rest of the night, we already had probably a very significant tornado outside of the covered area in Alabama. We're still kind of waiting for more in terms of damage assessment with that. I just hope everybody's okay there, because that was kind of a one-off renegade tornado warning. You see it's a thunderstorm warning in Henry County now, but earlier on, you see that red box. And shear rate said this east of Ozark around Echo. We had very, very strong spin there. It very easily could have been EF2 plus tornado in that area. a little while ago, it wasn't something that we needed to jump in for since it wasn't a covered area and it wasn't something that was like a tornado emergency or something, but still could have been very significant, a very big deal for the local viewers in that Dothan television market. So it's something to kind of keep in mind here as we're looking at things, as we're monitoring things. Again, you have scale, you have 211 plus mile-an-hour wind that consists there, and the levels higher, what indicates a strong tornado. Let me see what else I want to say. Again, when we're not on the air, you can go to clutter.com/radar for interactive look at things. You have Facebook, that Casey Cloud WX, that will be live streaming there. Or if we just need to post some thunderstorm mornings, maybe we do that there. That's how we do it generally. And then at Clouds Weather on Facebook, then also Twitter/Cloud Casey. You have YouTube there. Of course, we're streaming our coverage there right now. YouTube at Clouds Weather. Subscribe now and enable those notifications, and then Twitch there, Cloud Weather. So a lot of different ways to keep tuned here. Again, our covered area will require to be on the air, and we'll be on for other areas as necessary here, but it's about these 62 counties here primarily. And we briefly had a tornado warning in that Georgia version, the one toward the top left of your screen, the Georgia version of Clay County. That expired there very quickly, though, at 3:29. They dropped that. They canceled it on out. It was issued there at 3:21. So you really spun down very quickly, but earlier we had something spin up quickly. I think they wanted to get out ahead of that in case it produced another tornado, a significant one, so folks had time to get out of their mobile homes and places like that there, just to be on the safer side. So again, let me go ahead and just keep looking at things here. You can see there's your tornado watch. That tornado watch is in a broad yellow until 11 a.m. That includes Donaldsonville, Bainbridge, Cairo, Thomasville, Moultrie, Camilla, as well as Blakely. You see Albany, Sylvester, Aspern there, Dawson, Cuthbert. You kind of get the idea. Tornado watch here in play until 11 o'clock, so another 7 hours, and we could get more tornado watches through the day here. So stay tuned for the very latest. Again, we just wanted to jump in here for a little bit for that tornado warning in Clay County, Georgia. That spun down again rapidly, but earlier on we had something spin up rapidly, and they wanted to get ahead of that in case it happened again with that same area really of convection. So definitely makes sense there. You see the red on the radar, heavy downpours causing some flash flooding in parts of our region. Don't see a lot of velocity at the moment, but it could change rapidly in a setup like this here. Gotta watch with the instability. I know it's an odd time of day, but I know you might get some more instability as you look ahead. It's the middle of the night, so we're not going to maybe get as much, but it's still very warm out there, and we have some shears, so this could be tricky. We need you guys to stay tuned here. You can't lay your guard down. I mean, some areas could get quite a bit of rain out of this, too. And the Miles kind of are doing things like they did in February to some degree, so just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind here as we're just going to keep on checking here the very latest. We're going to try to give you guys everything we can here. I'm going to take the watch off for a second. That's your hail risk. There's your wind risk. There's your tornado risk. And it's the overall risk right there for this Saturday. That's mainly after 7 a.m. Eastern time, of course. I know we'll have that time change tomorrow, but it goes from 8 to 8 starting tomorrow. Today at 7 o'clock there, probably to 8 because of the way things are kind of covered. But 7 a.m. today to 8 a.m. tomorrow. But that's right up before the wee hours of tonight here across our region, it would seem. So, real quick while we're on, in case we get really lucky and don't have to bounce on for a while here, let me just go ahead and kind of go over a model guidance, because it could be a situation here. It could be really hit and miss. I mean, we don't get much for a while, and then all of a sudden things go crazy like they did in Alabama there earlier on. So let me see our model guidance here. This is around what we're expecting here, and it's not picking up on it great, but we'll just kind of look at general trends and look for general trends 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 p.m. As you kind of look at things there, as you kind of monitor things. I mean, you get to 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m. potential radar view simulation of radar like 3 p.m. this afternoon, 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m. So you kind of get the idea. That's as far as it'll go out. That could impact the fair later on, but a lot of the day will be okay at the Bradford County, Florida Fair. So keep that in mind. The threat will be lower and severe later too, but it won't be zero. So that's way later for Stark. I mean, we're talking about a long time away. I mean, despite it being within our covered area where we're at, but other areas within the viewing circle already being impacted right now. We have a very large area that's moving kind of slow. Going to add to that flash flooding potential. So again, we're going to keep watching things behind the scenes, but let me just make sure we don't have any questions or comments from anybody out there at home real quick. I just want to make sure we don't have anything here. Again, just make sure that we kind of look through everything. I just don't want you guys getting caught off guard here early on this Saturday morning. I don't see anything right now, so we're going to wrap it up. Again, that flash flood warning still for parts of Clay and Georgia, Lee, Quitman, Randolph, as well as Terrell. That goes all the way out there until 9 a.m. So remember, turn around, don't drown there. Watch out for more tornado warnings. We have the tornado watch in the broad yellow shade until 11. Some severe thunderstorm warnings further out have been dropped. You see there was some hail reported, though. Damage and hail in Baldwin County, Alabama earlier on. Inch and a quarter, inch and a half. Inch and 3/4 really. Some reports coming in, maybe quite a few even to ping pong ball size from early indications out there. So that's kind of interesting. Let me see if there's any new damage reports from that tornado there around the community of Echo there in Alabama. I know that's a big deal, obviously. Let me go ahead and just check here. I'm going to go ahead and just check. Bear with me. Bear with me here. Just trying to give you guys the latest before I wrap it on up. I mean, that tornado in Alabama, it was very close to the radar. And interesting view. Still kind of, it's a rural area, so it's going to take a little bit to kind of get a better handle on what really happened over there. So we'll hope that not too much got hit because of it being so rural, but definitely could have caused a lot of damage based on the early indications on the Doppler algorithms here with the debris signature going up. I mean, it's pretty close to radar, but it still went up pretty far up into toward areas there of that region. So again, keeping everybody in our thoughts and prayers here. Again, it was outside of the area with that one that started to move in, but kind of weakened back out again. Weakened once, weakened again, but it was significant there in Echo, Alabama. We'll be waiting for more word on what happened. Pretty rural, but pretty significant. So hopefully, again, not too many folks got hit. Hopefully nobody got hit, but if they did, damage could be pretty bad out there. And a mobile home, that type of signature on radar to me tells me that a mobile home could, or multiple mobile homes could have been destroyed in theory. We don't have any word on that at this point. So gonna wrap it up for now. Thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center. We'll be back to the day if and as necessary here on the various platforms.